was broken, I was split right open. But you're too focused on your big moment. I felt so selfish, I became a spare. Do you even care about the way I lie awake for you in bed, waiting for you to rest? But yet you go instead. I know you need your time, so is it such a crime to ask for you to try and put me in your life?
With the commish, Nate.
Hello, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Press Pass Live, your weekly podcast show for the OMFL. I don't know who was all on top of me saying hello. I guess that was Trey. Trey's excited to be here tonight. You see, we got our three guys. The fourth guy is missing in action. He's got to work. He's on like a 3-day schedule right now, so he couldn't join us. But you see my buddies here, Mr. Maniac, owner of the Deuce and the Buffalo Bills. Mr. Trey, owner of the Commanders, who just beat me. Shame on you, Trey. Can't believe that. And Mr. Hurd of the Minnesota Vikings. Fellers, how are we? I did it again. I forgot to have something to write with so I could record who actually gets a point, because Big Hurt just got a point to get us going here. Where's Mr. Maniac? Oh no, you got to turn that up, Mr. Maniac. We can't hardly hear you. Mr. Maniac also brand new setup, so happy for him, but equally, he's paying the price because it is never easy to figure out a setup. Barely. I think you need a little bit more juice. No. Well, I'm glad since he said something. We were talking about this before the show started, y'all. There was an update. And a part of that update, oh, look at this. Discord just said, I'm going to unplug. So it is not there. Part of this update screwed up absolutely everything. So everything that could be screwed up is screwed up. And we are trying to work out the bugs as we go. You should be able to hear these fellas now, though.
Check, mic check.
They can hear you. The one problem is going to be somebody doesn't have headphones on. So somebody is getting feedback through the rest of us. I'm going to have to let y'all figure that out because I ain't here to call nobody out. We're off to a great start here. And tonight is all about stories. We're going to talk about the best stories of season 114. But before we do it, we're going to go ahead and jump in here and start looking at some of these games. Oh, look at that. Look, I can't. Fellas, I am so frustrated. This update for my Mac has broken every Elgato product I own, which is everything. The microphone, the third screen, the capture card. It has broken everything, and it doesn't make any sense. Give me just a second. Let me see if I can fix this really quick. I worked on all this. It will be temporary until freaking Elgato gets back to me and tells me how to fix this stuff properly. You can even hear it a little bit. It's very quiet, but you can hear it. Maniac, did you ever get the audio fixed?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. Maybe a little bit more juice. You sound good. Just a little bit more juice. Thank you, Cincy, for letting me know, buddy. Again, we're working out some kinks. I have a message out to Elgato to tell me what have they done to break my capture card, which is remove my sound and not allow me to stream in 2K. I don't know what they broke. It's not me, but we're figuring it out. And I had to completely reinstall all of my audio today, like every plugin, every source. Today has been a bit of a challenge. Let's jump into it. Let's look at week number 10 here, fellas. And we're going to talk about a couple of these games. Jaguars fall to the Colts 45-14. I'm going to try to do owners, but owners don't always pop up into my head quite as quickly as I can just read off the teams. Nipples falls to Mr. Cincyberg 24-21. Mr. Tim beats Crazy 17-15. I don't get to see Crazy that much, and I'm always pausing to say, is it Logan? Is it Crazy? Is it some other guy that's no longer here? My Saints beat Mr. Roger and the Houston Texans 24-21. Mr. Lost Sniper beat Mr. Trey here 35-32. Cleveland and Mr. Denbrew beats his buddy Little Koch 34-19, and that's going to always hurt Buddy Bowl. Like, I'm not going to talk to my buddy for at least a week after that. Atlanta and Fleury beat Kevin 31-17. Meek 31, Mr. Beal 7. That was a tough one. Mr. D. Wayne beats Twinkie 24-0. In another Buddy Bowl, Mr. Jay Glaze beats Jay Bowles. That always confuses me. 38-34. Mr. Joker beats Mr. Crazy. No, well, then why did I say Crazy up here? Who was I supposed to say up here? Oh, Logan.
That was
gosh.
Logan.
Jesus, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place, y'all. I'm telling you, all the team flip-flopping catches up with me sooner or later. Anyway, Joker beats Crazy 44-24. Mr. Big Hurt beats D-Money 24-14. Big Hurt, was that played?
Yes, it was.
Look at you. You get another point. Congrats. Mr. Colin beats Bird 18-17. I'm trying to track points and talk like a coherent human being. And Luca beats Kobe 35-31. Guys, what was the biggest upset this week? There were some really close games. Big Hurt, you got the lead points, so I'm going to go ahead and come to you first.
Biggest upset? That's a tough one. I think I'm gonna say your Saints over Roger and the Texans, just because I feel like you still have an opportunity in this division, as even though you may not feel like it, but the wins loss. With the amount of games left at the point of week 10, this kind of kept you in arm's reach to kind of make a turnaround and down the stretch to sneak a playoff spot and win this division still. So upsetting the Texans, who have had a pretty strong season, I think this was a big win for you, and not to mention you went on the road to get the win. So that would be probably the biggest upset for me in week 10.
Mr. Maniac, what was the biggest upset in week number 10? Upset, I don't know what upset means, but I meant upset. Oh, I need a drink or something. What is wrong with me here tonight?
You can hear me now, but yeah, the game I'm looking at and the team that I feel like was upset, even though the record doesn't show, the Washington Commanders losing to the New England Patriots. The Patriots, though, have really kind of came on late, and they're really pushing for an actual playoff spot and for the division over here in the AFC East. I know Trey, the Commanders, they've kind of had a rough go here and there, but anytime you put Trey behind the sticks, that team improves by tenfold. So just looking at the Patriots, so that 35-32 victory, I think that's just huge.
Absolutely. Mr. Trey, biggest upset for week number 10.
Maniac, thanks for reminding me that Emmanuel Forbes should have had an easy interception that ended up making me lose that game. Regardless, without a doubt, it's anytime D Money takes an actual game, you've got to consider that an upset. And the fact that our man over here, Mr. Hurt, put a little bit of a whoop on him. You gotta say that's the biggest upset because it's just D Money. Don't expect him to be upset by anybody, let alone the 10-point loss.
I'm trying to move and press buttons and do all kinds of stuff over here. Absolutely, that's a big time win for Mr. Big Hurt. And I don't care what kind of season D Money's having. Anytime you can beat that fella, you should be pretty proud of it. Moving into week number 11, Mr. Twinkie beats Crazy 21-10. No, he doesn't, because that was a sim game. But Mr. Maniac beats Mr. Trey 27-18. Mr. Bird beats Kobe 34-15. Tim with a big win over Big Hurt, 31-14. Denver and Mr. J Glaze with a big victory over Colin, 31-21. I don't know why everything tonight is big. Pittsburgh and Kansas City game was a sim. Houston and Roger with a 47-34 victory over Little Koch, who has decided he is not playing defense at all this season. My Saints beat Kevin's Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-7. Mr. Priest 38, Jay Bowles 34, classic game there. Denbrew with a 30-27 victory over Logan, who's having a hard time winning some of these close games here this season. Nicehanger bounces back with a 21-6 victory over Massimo and the Dolphins, and feels like Massimo's hit full tank mode. We're just going to go get a draft pick and try to bounce back again next season. Talking about Mr. Lost Sniper, he gets a 47-40 victory over Bronco Man, Randy, Reluctant Pancake, all kinds of names, but we love him and know him. Mr. Cincyberg with a 23-12 victory over Beal, who's been sort of all over the place, but he's still hanging in there. Meat Boy with a 24-23 victory over Fleury. And then finally, Joker with a dominating 35-7 victory over San Francisco. Another week of close games. What was your favorite game looking at them this week? Mr. Maniac, I'm coming to you first.
Go with, let's see. I'm looking at the Patriots. I'm talking about the Patriots again. I think that 47-40 victory over the Indianapolis Colts and Bronco Man, aka whatever his name is. He's got like a million aliases, but anytime like Lost Sniper, I mean, he has been putting up the points. His defense has not been real strong this season, but I'm telling you, like, these Patriots are for real. They're fighting, and they actually got themselves like in really big a victory here over a tough opponent in the AFC. That just kind of helps their playoff position.
Coming back over to you, Mr. Trey, what was your biggest surprise this past week? Or your favorite game, I'm sorry. Favorite game from this past week?
It's always nice to see when a good guy that's a good heart gets a W, especially when he's having a struggling season. So it was nice to see Nicehanger get a nice win over the Dolphins. And, he's been fighting. He's been asking me questions about mobile quarterbacks. I tried to give him a little bit of help. Whether it's working or not, I don't know. But to see him get a nice dub in this season was nice to see.
Absolutely. You pull for the good guys sometimes, and the good guy picked him up one there. Mr. Big Hurt, what was your favorite game from week number 11?
I'd have to turn to kind of the heavyweights at this point. I'm going to go with the Broncos and the Bears. Jay Glaze pretty much shows, and not only, I mean, as he's done multiple times this season already, but he just reasserted himself against the former champion from this last season that he can go on the road and win 31-21 over the Bears. Jay Glaze is playing really at a high level. And so I think that definitely results into my favorite game for week 11. One thing I wanted to also talk about is that he forced 6 turnovers. 6. He had Caleb Williams picked off 5 times in that game. That is not something that you see Colin do very much. And so this Broncos defense is playing at a high level, and yeah, to just be able to go on the road and force 5 interceptions against the reigning champ is impressive.
Some really good games there. And Mr. Cincyberg in the chat says, Trey, you stink. You beat me, but you lose to the Bills and the Patriots. So it's like he got a double whammy, a triple whammy right there from Mr. Trey. And then somehow the computer says, Nate, you can't cover the middle linebacker. We're not going to let you select the middle linebacker. Instead, we're going to let Trey go deep to a tight end right down the field for like the 8th time that game. I just can't believe it happened.
Nate, I checked. It was only twice. And you can
Trey's
blame
losing
Koch
points over here. He's losing points. No, I'm just kidding.
Our Denbrew, because I found out they're the ones that converted Chase Claypool from a wide receiver to a tight end. Blame them.
Trey, I don't know why. It's you that we're getting the feedback from. I don't know if the
Really?
volume's a little too high or if you got earbuds. I don't know what's causing the feedback.
I got my headphones on.
That's weird. We're getting a little feedback for some reason whenever you talk. Anyway, let's look at week number 12. We're going to come to you first, Trey, so prepare yourself here. Mr. Kevin beats Priest 27-16. I'm realizing tonight I say Mr. a lot. Denbrew beats Massimo 34-16. Beal bounces back with a good victory here, 35-27 over Luca. This was a crazy looking game, at least from the scores perspective. Penguins 49, D-Money 46. That sounds like an instant classic, even for two teams who we know are championship coaches. They've got multiple trophies on the shelves and yet not having the season they both wish they were. Seattle and Baltimore was a sim, unfortunately. Big Hurt bounces back after last week's tough loss, 31-27 over Jay Bowles. Mr. Maniac with another tough victory, 28-21 over Roger. Playing that one on remote play, that takes cojones to be able to do. Lost Sniper keeps it rolling, 36-14 over Nicesonger. Crazy Man with a big-time shocking victory. I hope it made a bunch of you go bust in the gold sheet and the pick'em, 27-24 over Mr. Joker. Logan 35 over Jay Glaze. God, we're going to get it right here sooner or later. It's yes, PSN numbers. They don't match with each other. 35-32. Bird beats the Bronco Man, a.k.a. Randy, 37-25. Cincyberg bounces back 37-7 over Kobe, and Kobe with a couple of tough losses these last few weeks. Colin with a good victory here this afternoon, and I didn't get to watch this one, but I heard it was a close game that went down to like the last drive or so. He beats Tim 30-24, and I'm so proud of myself. I didn't say Trey there. Twinkie with a 26 to, oh no, that was a sim. When I seen that score, I almost messaged Dwayne to say, wait a second, Twinkie got you? He's always trying to get you, but no, that was just a sim game. And then finally, Trey beats my Saints 31-28. One stupid mistake, or actually two stupid mistakes, but one I blame on Madden. One was mine with a pick six late in that game. Mr. Trey, I'm coming over to you. Which one of these games do you think will play into the playoff run that we're coming to here at the end of season 114? Which one of these losses or wins is going to be more dynamic in that playoff run? Trey said, I'm going to sleep. Are you with us, Trey? Uh-oh. See, I told Trey we were getting some echo, and he's like, I'll go fix it. And then he ended up breaking it, trying to fix it. Trey, let you work on that. I'm coming over to Mr. Big Hurt. Which one of these wins or losses is going to be the most impactful for the season 114 playoff run?
There's a couple that I really think stand out. Obviously, the one I'm going to pick just because I think it kind of caught my eye the first and the most is going to be the Cardinals and the Rams. I just think that division's still up for grabs. Seattle's right on the doorstep, and I think last time I looked, they were like 7-3, and the Cardinals were like 8-4 before Seattle had played their game in week 12 or whatever it was. And so that actually propelled the Seattle into first place, even though he had less games played, but just by the win percentage. And so this game is very pivotal because this is kind of a game that I think we all probably chalked up for the Cardinals to win, just with everything that Crazy B-Man's been through in life and whatnot. But with that being said, I think it's also a really good thing for Crazy B-Man to get a win like this, just because he can unplug from life and know that he's got this win. And it's like, okay, I can enjoy this and I can play and I can still compete and all that stuff. So this is a very pivotal game. I think it might impact playoff seeding or really come down to even divisional winner, because Seattle's right on the doorstep, and depending on how things kind of shake up here in the last 4 or 5 weeks, that game might be the one we come back to say, yeah, Joker wins this game, he wins the division or gets a higher playoff spot than where he actually is going to end up at.
I agree with you. I think that one was really pivotal. Maniac, coming over to you. Which one of these games do you think is most pivotal, win or loss, going into season 114 playoffs?
Well, I'm going to take a little bit of different approach here. I think the Carolina and the Indianapolis game. Indianapolis, I think if they win this game, they have a clear-cut hold on that division. And especially with Houston losing the game and stuff, but with the loss there, that still maintains a two game lead, and Houston could make that up. I mean, it's a small lead there in that division. So I think that loss for the Colts, it proves big for them because, again, if they win that, they take a 3-game lead. They're pretty much cruising, I think, into the end of the season now. And that leaves a little bit of hope for the Houston Texans. Again, they lost a real close game today, but I think that just opens the door for them, gives them hope as the season's winding down.
Yeah, it was a really close game. Trey, I seen you jump in and out, and I think you might have fixed it. You back with us? Uh-oh. I heard him try to say something. Oh, maybe.
Hello?
Yes. Now you're back with us.
Did I fix it?
Yeah, I don't know what you did, but you fixed it. Little magic Trey dust on there.
Discord PlayStation being funky. Oh, okay. So back to what I was originally talking about. My pivotal matchup was the Lions and the Bears. Colin winning that game put the pressure on to Tim now. They're now tied evenly. When you go into those divisional matchups, they're so clutch when it comes down to the playoff seeding, especially who wins the division. Now that the pressure's on, because I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, that's their second game, and Collins won both of them. That puts the pressure on Tim to make sure that Tim can't make any more mistakes throughout the rest of the season, or it's going to slip up and let Collins slide into the division lead.
I think that one is going to be really, really pivotal. Let's look at week number 13 as we're looking at what's currently happening weeks 13, 14, and 15. And I just want to give you to give me, I should say, the game to watch for in these weeks. 13 is going to be Cowboys and Bucks, Cardinals, Commanders, Browns, Jaguars, Seahawks, Lions. That'll be a fun one. Bills and Dolphins, Eagles and Jets, Rams and Ravens, Saints and Falcons, that's a maybe, Panthers and Texans, Raiders and Broncos, Titans and Patriots, Vikings and Bears, Chargers and Steelers, Bengals and Packers. Mr. Trey, since you couldn't start us off last time, coming to you this time, what is your favorite game to watch here in week 13?
It's going to be one of our infamous Buddy Bulls, and it's going to be Logan Chargers versus Pens and the, or I guess, I'll call himself Flightless Bird. And the Steelers. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Both teams are fighting for the wild card spots in the AFC, and it's going to come down to, one win here could easily flip their spots. As Steelers are 6-5, Chargers are 5-7. One win changes that entire dynamic.
I agree with you, Mr. Maniac. What are you watching for in week number 13?
Head on over to Chicago Bears and take a look at them Vikings against the Bears. If the Vikings are able to pull off the big win against the Bears, this could shake up this division make it even more interesting than what it already is. But if the Bears are able to take care of business at home and get a victory over the Vikings, then I think they're going to pretty much put a bear hug on that division.
Oh, a little pun fun there at the end. Mr. Big Hurt, what are you watching for in week number 13?
So I'm going to give you my game, but I just want to comment on Maniac's thing. What would be funny is if I do upset the Bears, and yes, it is an upset because he's the reigning champ. I would be 2-0 against the Bears. The Bears would be 2-0 against the Lions, and I'm 0-1 against the Lions right now with a game to be played, with us all being a game of each other. How crazy is that? Basically a repeat of the NFC North, I think, last year. Yeah, wild. Anyways, my game for week 13 is going to be the Seahawks and the Lions. And I think it's pivotal because of what I talked about and what Trey talked about in this last week. Week 13, the Seahawks have to maintain that momentum and winning because Joker is now, I think, going to be refocused after getting a loss that he probably chalked up as a win. So Seattle's got to get these wins when they can to stay in the lead and within the division, but also playoff wise. He's had a few games that he's had hiccups with and whatnot, but he's right in the thick of things. And this is a playoff potential matchup with the Lions, as we just said. Of everything going on in the NFC North, this is a big one where, like Trey said earlier, if Tim's going to continue to lead this division but losing to the Bears, he cannot have any more hiccups or potential losses. So this game is a big game for Tim because he has to win this game, because regardless if I win or Colin wins, it's just going to shake that division up regardless, however it happens, and Tim's got to have a win. So both teams are going to be chomping for the bit on the win on this. And like I said, potential NFC playoff matchup. So this is a big game for both teams.
It's going to be a really fun division to see how that one comes to the very end. Going to be a good team that might get left out in the cold in that division. Week number 14, Lions and Packers, Colts and Jets. That might be a really fun one. Jaguars and Titans, Texans and Patriots could go a long way. Cowboys and Bills, sign me up to watch that one, please. Browns and Bengals, Broncos and Dolphins, Ravens and 49ers, Raiders and Chiefs, Vikings and Rams, Commanders and Eagles, Steelers and Seahawks, Giants and Panthers, and Buccaneers and Falcons. Coming over to you, Mr. Maniac. What are you watching for in week number 14?
I was going to say that game between Dwayne and myself is going to be like really a really good game, but I can't talk about myself. I got to talk about the Texans and the Patriots. The Patriots right now, they're within striking distance of the number one spot in the AFC East. The Texans, because of the scheduling and the losses of the Colts, they're in striking distance as well. So this game right here, the winner puts himself in position to still make a move on that division. The loser here probably is going to be looking at possibly setting themselves out of the playoffs. So I think it's really a pivotal matchup here in this week 14 against these two clubs.
I agree. That's going to be a ton of fun. Mr. Big Hurt, what about week 15?
Yeah, so this is a game. I mean, I'm going to pick the Cowboys and the Bills as my game just because of who these owners are and what they mean in the OMFL and how good of opponents and owners these guys are. I think this is just a powerhouse matchup. I would say I was going to pick the Ravens and the Niners, but I don't know if that game will get played, so that's why I'm turning to the Bills and the Cowboys. I think this game is going to just be very pivotal for Dwayne's probably got things locked up in the NFC East, but he could be fighting if he slips up a game or two within the rest of the season. This could be a game that he needs to win to maintain the 1 seed, but I think he's got a 2-game lead on that, so he should be good. But this game's really, really important for Maniac, and I think it's not only important for Maniac from a record standpoint, but more important for his confidence, because Maniac can play with the best and with anybody in this league. And now that he's got Josh Allen back, he's figuring things out. He's got to figure out how to win and get that momentum ball rolling into the playoffs. And if he can figure that out, again, the record's right there. The division, playoff, or wild card, all that stuff is in the mix. But if he gets that momentum rolling, if you recall season 1, I believe was this the OMFL Bowl championship game? I think it was.
Yeah, you're right.
So this would be basically a repeat and a replay of a rematch of that first season's OMFL Bowl. And like I said, if Maniac can get the confidence thing going and get his team playing hot at the right time, right into the playoffs, this could be that turning point for him, I think.
Hurt said that buzzer is just, I don't even know if y'all hear the buzzer. Can you even hear the buzzer?
No.
Oh, well, that's,
No.
I was going to say, Big Hurt just thinks the buzzer is just like a hint, a maybe. And this is why. It's because he actually can't hear the thing at all. But let's see. Let me try this. Now you guys now you'll be able to hear. My bad. I don't know. I don't understand why it was like that, but it is what it is. We got it going. Mr. Trey, we're coming over you. What are you looking for in week number 15?
It's week 14.
Oh, that's right. I'm already on week 15 because I was ready to go. But Trey, we can't hear you if you're muted.
I'm going to have to go with the Steelers and the Seahawks. I'm, sticking with my friend here a little bit with, Mr. Penguins. But it's also Meek. Meek's going to have a big pressure on his shoulders. This is going to be the Cardinals' bye week. He's got a chance to lengthen his lead or potentially fall back on it. And if you look at it from the aspect of the Steelers are still in punching range of the AFC North, but they're also defending off the wildcard spot, Meek and the Seahawks are fighting for that first place spot, but have a comfortable cushion for the NFC wildcard spot. It's going to be an interesting matchup between the two.
I think this is going to be a really fun week. Let's look at the last one, week number 15. We got a close race here, boys. Maniac with 21, Big Hurt with 22, and Tim. Sorry, I did it opposite. I don't know why. It's opposite day anytime I talk about Tim or Trey. Trey has 20. Let's look at week number 15. Patriots and Dolphins, Commanders and Falcons, Bengals and Steelers, Bills and Colts, Saints and Buccaneers, Titans, Texans, Jaguars, Panthers, Eagles, Giants, Chiefs, Broncos. That could go a long way. Ravens, Cardinals, if it gets played. Lions, Raiders, 49ers, Rams, Jets, Cowboys. That'll be a fun one. Chargers and Bears, Seahawks and Browns, Packers and Vikings. I feel like that Seahawks-Brown matchup might be one we just never get to watch. Mr. Trey, I'm going to come over to you first. What are you looking forward to in week number 15? Maybe. Muted. Possibly. Could
That's
be.
5 points.
We'll come back to
Hello?
Trey. Oh, wait, maybe. You with us?
Okay, this is just Discord's being weird.
Yeah, sorry about that, buddy. I'll give you another point just for Discord being weird.
I think I'm going to have to pick the Jets and the Cowboys on this one. It's two very interesting matchups with Cincy and his Jets squad, and Wayne and his Cowboys. Two very talented players, two very skillful players on the sticks. It'll be nice to see if since he can reverse the fate and help me out since I couldn't help him, or if D-Money just continues his dominance that he has this season when he actually plays his games.
That would be a really fun matchup. The problem is D-Money won't be playing as the Cowboys, and so that may cause a little break in the tension there. But we'll come over to Big Hurt next. What are you watching for in week number 15, Hurt?
Hey, if you can't even team, that's like an automatic 5-point loss.
I'm looking forward to D-Money taking over the Cowboys. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Oh, weird. Yeah. I think for week 15, I'm looking at the Chiefs and the Broncos just because of how dominant Jay Glaze has been. Shocks seems to kind of turn the switch and make that last push at the end of the season. He's done it the last couple seasons, and I think he's like hanging on by threads at this point, trying to get in that AFC wildcard picture. He's in the thick of things, but obviously with week 13, 14 still unplayed, there's things that could change, and I think this divisional matchup could be really big for the Chiefs to get a big upset. Again, like I said with Maniac, if Luca or Shocks fan, I guess he doesn't go by Luca anymore, but Shocks fan gets a big win here, that could play big for him in the confidence meter going into the end of the season, but also keep him in the mix of things for the wild card against the high quality opponent like Jay Glaze.
Mr. Maniac, week 15, it is going to be upon us before we know it. What are you looking forward to, bud?
Well, I was hoping they would talk about this game so I wouldn't, because it's too pivotal though, and it has to do with my team. I got the Cowboys the week before this. If I lose that, then I'm going like murderer's row here coming up in the season. And so if I lose this, I'm out. And I think this matchup between the Bills and the Colts, so it's basically going to be playoffs. I mean, the Colts are still fighting for their division lead and the small lead that they've got over the Texans. And then my Bills, we're facing an uphill battle trying to get back into the playoff race right now and the division as well. So this is going to be a make or break, I think, for both teams. And I think you're going to see both guys, myself and Reluctant Pancake, Bronco Man, whatever his name is. But I think it's going to be one of those matchups that we're going to have to pull out, all the stops and try to get the win here, because the loser's probably going to be behind the 8-ball.
That's going to be a classic matchup. And boys, we have found ourselves to the OMFL news with a tied ball game across the board, 24 apiece. Let's go ahead and get over to Mr. Denbrew, who can take it away for some OMFL news. He's sitting in a little late, but don't worry, I got us going. Mr. Denbrew, take it away. Hopefully this works.
Welcome back to the OMFL news. We are in week 12, season 114. I am Denbrew. This is your news. All right, last week we took a quick peek at some guys who have been putting up big stats and possibly MVP or maybe even Defensive Player of the Year candidates. This week, let's turn our attention to those rookies who have been shining in the OMFL this season. We're going to start it out with quarterback. You got to like what you see with Justin Tucker of the Washington Commanders, what he's done so far this season, 2,000 yards passing, but even more impressive is that 6 interceptions he's got and 16 touchdowns, by the way, to go along with that. Looking at running backs, we got another Commander turning in a solid season. Desmond Garvin has gotten the majority of the touches there in the run game. He's averaging less than 4 yards a carry, so that's not great, but he's been impressive getting into the end zone. He's got 10 touchdowns on the season. Another running back worth noting, Niles Forbes of the New York Football Giants. Forbes with 467 yards on the season. He's got 6 touchdowns. Looking at wideout, little wide receiver, you got to like what the Raiders have got there with Wayne Small. Wayne Small has 887 yards, so he's going to eclipse that 1,000-yard mark. Only 3 touchdowns, but he's got a nice little rookie campaign going there for the Raiders. Then I think you got to look at Kendrick Weldon, another wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints. Weldon, 632 yards, and he's hit pay dirt twice this season for the Saints. Another pass catcher who I think deserves some recognition is tight end George Mason of the New England Patriots. Mason with 656 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns though. So that's nice to see Mason, the tight end, getting some work there for the New England Patriots. If you ask me, which you don't, I think you got to look at Mason or Tucker for the early offseason Rookie of the Year award. And then quickly some defensive rookies, middle linebacker for the Bengals, Kentrell Claxton. 83 tackles on the season, 7 tackles for loss, and 1 interception. Defense here, right end, Anthony Sloan
of the Tennessee Titans, 6 sacks and 11 TFLs for the young rookie. And then we got a couple of defensive tackles. The first one is Brian Keenan of the Bengals, 4.5 sacks, 10 TFLs. And then lastly, Larry Milton of the Miami Dolphins, 3.5 sacks, 10 TFLs. Awesome start to these guys' career. Maybe we'll see some of these guys get imported to the next cycle. Only time will tell. That's all I got for this week. Back to Nate, D. Wayne, maybe, Maniac, maybe, Trey, possibly, Big Hurt's also there, could be, who knows, and more Press Pass Live. See you.
Poor Denver. He's like, I don't know who's going to be there either. So that's two of us, Denver. I think I may have fixed one of my issues. One. It's not all of them, but I may have fixed one issue that I've been fighting. Back over here. Let's see if this is going to work. Yes, it works. Okay, great. Sorry, that was weird, but I had to check it and make sure that we were getting something to work. This other thing's not still quite working, but we'll figure it out. Guys, it's time to talk best stories of season 114. And this one is kind of open-ended. Each of you are going to get 3 minutes. The clock will be ticking once I call on you. You're going to make a case for what is your best story for season 114. Is it a team? Is it a player? Is it an owner? Is it a race? What is your best story of season 114? And hopefully you are fully prepared for this one, Mr. Maniac. I'm going to start with you. What's your favorite story of season 114?
So I'm going to start off with my favorite story of the season. You have to look no further than the Houston Texans. We've talked about having Roger, he's had such battles in real life, and he's always like that 1 or 2 win guy in the season, and he just kind of struggles because he's got all of his personal things that he's dealing with on the personal note. But he has really turned in a really solid season so far. I mean, we're looking at his stats right now. He's only 2 games out of first place right now in the AFC South division. You look at CJ Stroud. He's second in TD passes in the OMFL. We all know Roger can be that gunslinger of the league, but he's also done it with a 60% completion percentage, and he's in the middle of the pack in turnovers. So he's not leading, but he's not like great, not turning the ball over. But he has been exceptional, though. In the scheme of things for so far this season. So you have to give kudos to him. DeMarco is wide receiver, top 3 in TDs. You could probably put money on that. But I think the thing that you saw from his team so far this season, he's been competitive. And in almost every game that you look at, he's been competitive. And he's also, I think one of the big things for his team is he's top 5 in third down conversions in this league. So he's getting those first downs. He's keeping drives alive, and I just think that speaks volumes to Roger, is his resilience to deal with what he's dealt with. But he always seems to have kind of a level head on his shoulders. He doesn't get too down. He doesn't get too high. But I think you saw a little bit from him this season. He's had more fun. And just looking at his record and being competitive, he's only been out of really 2 games that he lost more than 7 points. So just kudos to Rodgers. I think he deserves a hand.
I absolutely cannot disagree with that one, Mr. Big Hurt. What is your favorite story for season 114?
My favorite story is the NFC as a whole. The parity in this league from the NFC standpoint, I think the AFC also has an argument, but I just was looking at the NFC. You got 2 or 3 divisions in this on the conference side of the NFC that are literally like up for grabs. Nothing's really been like sewn in. And the reason I say that is like it seemed like Joker had the lead, and now Seattle's got the lead. And then you go over to the South, and it's like Atlanta had the lead, and now Carolina's kind of taking the lead, but like the Saints are still in it. The Bucks are, not typically out of it type of thing yet. The NFC North, you've got Detroit, you got the reigning Super Bowl champ from last year. The Bears were leading it, then the Lions took the lead, and then now the Bears beat the Lions, and then the Bears and the Vikings are playing this week, and then I still have to play the Lions. So it's like we're all within a game of each other. And so it's just been like back and forth. Like one team's in the lead, the next week a different team's in the lead. And then you look at the whole playoff picture, and it's like outside of Dallas at 10-1, the 2 seed is Seattle at 8-3, but then you also have the Lions at 8-3, the Panthers at 7-4, the Bears at 8-4, the Cardinals at 8-4, the Vikings at 7-4, and then you even go outside, just like on the outside of the playoffs right now, Washington 6-5, the Giants are 6-6, Atlanta 5-6. There's so much stuff that could take place within the next 4 or 5 weeks, and the way this has gone, I don't think the playoff seedings are anywhere close to being set. I think things will change a bunch more, and it's just going to be interesting to watch. I think the parity in this league is what makes it fun. Each week matters, and that's what I go back to a divisional matchup. Crazy B-Man proved that, and that's exactly what the NFC is about right now. Is you think you walk into a game where you're going to win, and all of a sudden Joker slips up against B-Man, and now he's looking at second place in the division, trying to hang on to a wild card spot.
And it doesn't take a whole lot at all. And that is a great point by you, Mr. Trey. Season 114. What is your story, your favorite story that's being told so far here?
It's an interesting one, because when I joined the OMFL years back, I got thrown into the divisions and was able to stumble upon my Lions. And when I took over those Lions, the NFC North was almost considered a joke division in the sense of they're probably going to have a 500 team, and they're going to, be one and done and out of the playoffs. I was able to win a few OMFL championships in that division, but then, circumstances in real life took me away from the OMFL last year, and I needed the break. It's nice to come back to seeing that it is such a competitive division that you have 3 teams that are all punching distance with, we're 12 weeks in now. They're all, 3 of them within 1 game back of each other. You have Priest, who's, on the lower end of it, but he's still, a turn of luck, and he's in the fight for the race of the North again. It's nice to see that division has gone from being the joke of the NFC now being potentially the strongest division inside the NFC. And to see that happen from where I took over in the division to where I left it, and see that it didn't just fall back down to being a joke division, it's nice to see that those teams have been able to establish themselves as contenders with inside the NFC and the OMFL in general.
Really good point by you, and that NFC North continues to stay strong, and Trey somehow is weaved into a self-compliment. I love that about him. I wish I could be that complimentary of myself. Mr. Maniac is in the lead right now, boys. 37. Big Herb coming into second place with 34, and Trey right behind him with 31. And now it's time to do our favorite thing, and that is open up the OMFL mailbag. Once again, OMFL, I'm calling you out this week because the mailbag is great, but the chat is dead tonight. Just my boy Cincy Berg in there. Cincy, I see you. I appreciate you. Thank you for hanging out in chat tonight. I don't know what the rest of y'all are, but I appreciate you. And I also appreciate these guys. I mean, we're 50 minutes deep, and we got through most of the show. You put a little buzzer here, give them some points. These guys get to the point pretty quickly. Mr. Tim, I did not read these beforehand, so we're all in this one together. I have no clue what I'm about to read from any of these friends. Tim says, last season, I asked the question on if multiple teams get in the playoffs from the best division in the OMFL. the NFC North. Easy there, Captain. Redemption time. Will multiple teams get into the playoffs from the NFC North? You just spoke about it, Mr. Trey. So I'm going to go ahead and let you have it to start us off. Do multiple teams get here? Lions 8-3, Bears 8-4, Vikings 7-4, Packers 5-6. What do you think?
I, in my heart, believe that there will be 3 NFC North teams inside the playoffs. I don't see any of them being upset. I don't see even, the closest one to it is Hurt, but Hurt's got the ability that he can take a run for the rest of the season and keep himself within the wild card spot. You have the NFC West. That's the only other spot that's going to potentially have a wild card spot. I feel it's we're gonna have the 3 teams from the NFC North, and I believe it'll be unfortunately for Priest, the Packers are going to be out of this scenario. It'll be the Vikings, the Bears, and the Lions from the NFC North going into the playoffs.
Wow, there you heard it, Mr. Maniac. What do you think about the NFC North?
Part of me just wants to say it and tell him no, but I think there is going to be multiple. I don't know if there's going to be 3. I know there's currently 3 in the playoff picture right now, but I think the most you're going to see is 2. And I think he's getting at, because I last season had said that nobody was going to make it from the NFC North, and the person that was going to make it from there was going to be ousted the first round. And lo and behold, Colin proved me wrong. So I'm glad to be proven wrong. But I also hold to my opinion. I don't think that there's going to be 3 there. I think there's going to be 2. But definitely give you a clap, for being most improved in the OMFL for his division wide.
Mr. Big Hurt, what do you think about the North? You're there. You're fighting for it.
Yeah, it's a dogfight division right now, and I mean it's up for grabs. I think this division is definitely going to have multiple teams in the playoffs, whether it's 2 or 3. I don't know on that. For my sake, just for odds purposes, I hope it's 3. But yeah, I'm looking at the schedules here. The Vikings have the Bears, Rams, Packers, Chiefs, Lions, and Chargers left, which is pretty tough schedule. The Bears have the Vikings, a bye week, Chargers, Niners, Raiders, Ravens. So that's a pretty tough schedule down the road. And then the Lions have the Seahawks, Packers, Raiders, Broncos, Vikings, Cardinals. So that is also a tough stretch. I think, I would like to say Priest is definitely not out of it, but he would have to have some things happen and get some big wins. He has the Bengals, Lions, Vikings, Cardinals, Chiefs, and Broncos. And I think with the Cardinals, the Broncos, the Vikings, and the Lions, he would have to win probably 3 of those games, as well as the Bengals and the Chiefs, to probably get into the playoffs. So I would say at least 2 make it. I don't know about 3, just with the strength of schedules that these 3 teams have right now. But like I said, for the odds purposes, I hope it's 3.
It's going to be a fun race. I think we've hit on it a couple of times here tonight, and clearly it is elevating itself to maybe being the best story here in the OMFL for season 114. Mr. Bill's going to ask a question, and I'm pretty sure he's going to catch a lot of us with our pants down. He says, which draft prospects in the upcoming draft have caught your attention as potential studs? What are we thinking about the draft? I got to be honest, I ain't looked in a couple of weeks, and way back early, it was like, there's some potential. It's going to be a pretty solid draft. I'm going to come over to you, Mr. Maniac. What do you think about the draft studs prospects for season 115?
I haven't really paid a lot of attention myself, but I will say this:
like the honesty,
there be more starting quarterbacks come out of this draft than we've seen the last season. That's for sure, because I think there's more talent there in the quarterback area of prospects. So again, like I said, I haven't looked real deep yet, but I definitely see some potential there in the quarterback area.
Mr. Big Hurt, what are you thinking about draft prospects?
Yeah, One thing I don't like getting is caught with my pants down for sure, but I would say that
Depends on who's catching you.
The quarterback spot is going to definitely be a little bit more relevant and a focus point for some teams. I think with a lot of guys looking at imports, the Raiders were just talking about this in the chat the other day that they got their guy, but there's a handful of guys there that I think guys might take a chance on. I also see that there's a pretty deep receiver room, but I have not really scouted or gone too deep into that. But I think it's going to be, if I recall, last draft we didn't have a lot of skill guys. But I do want to make one other point. I'm looking at the cornerback room. Unless there's some hidden gems, there ain't going to be a lot of cornerbacks taken in this draft.
I agree with you on that one. And Cincyberg, I mean, it's right. You know, I'm not wrong. If the wife catches me with the pants down, then not a bad scenario there. Trey, you're my draft guru here. What do you think about potential studs in season 115 draft?
There's one position that I feel if you're ready to take a project and build them and potentially take it as an import, this draft class is going to be loaded at the middle linebacker spot for pure athletes. A lot of people talk about draft busts, and they're usually just pure athletes. If once in a while we can, correct the wrongs and develop their skill sets. There's a lot of athletes in the middle linebacker position, and I feel that that's going to be the biggest shocking scenario come to draft day.
That's a really fun one there, Trey. Kudos to you. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you an extra point. You seem to be the only guy with a really great answer. These two, the quarterbacks, I can't believe you two. You should be ashamed of yourselves. I'm just kidding. We're going to Bill's second question.
I talked about the receivers in the corners.
You did. Good. Kudos for you on the corners. I thought that was a good one, too. Bill says, which team
D-Money won't be able to take 7 corners this draft.
That's true. And they won't go in the first 8 picks either. Bill says, which team do you think ends up with the number 1 seed in the AFC? Broncos, Browns, Jets, or a dark horse? I'm going to come over to our AFC guru now, Mr. Maniac. Get us going with this one, bud.
See a dark horse. I'm looking at possibly them Bengals might be in the run-in for that number 1 spot, or how about the Dolphins? I think the Dolphins maybe the more inside horse on this race because I think he's only got 1 win so far, and so getting the seed.
I normally would let you just run with it, but I think he means the number 1 seed in the AFC, and I don't think the Dolphins are going to get that with 1 win, or the Bengals.
Second, the number 1 draft pick.
We were just talking about the draft, so that's an easy. I'm sitting here giving you points too because you were giving good points, and then I realized, wait a second, he said Bengals, not Browns, and now he's talking about the Dolphins. Now I'm really confused. I'll give you 10 seconds to catch yourself up, though.
Yeah, give me the Broncos, man. I think he's just done so much this season, and he's solidified his offense, and he's playing. Not too bad of a defensive play either. So give me the Broncos to be that number 1 seed.
I'm giving him a point just because I love him. But when I throw it to my AFC guru and he's starting to talk about the Bengals and the Dolphins as the number 1 seed, I was like, wait a second. Is he drunk? I don't know what's going on over here. I'll blame the GOAT. We've been blaming the GOAT this entire season. We're going to come over to Mr. Big Hurt. You used to be our AFC guru. What do you think about this question? Number 1 seed, Broncos, Browns, Jets, or some dark horse?
I was wondering if Maniac maybe stole D. Wayne's drinks or something. I was like, what is he talking about? Anyways, number 1 AFC spot, I'm going to have to go with what's just been true too many times. I think the Browns are going to end up at top. I just think that's a guy that's been there. He's done it before time and time again. And when, cream rises to the top, and I just think he's been there too many times, and he just, when the pressure and the lights get there, I think that's the guy that's going to settle to the top. I think since he could easily take that spot, but I think he has a vacation or something coming up. that might throw a wrench into something. And that one game where he's trailing the Browns right now could also loom big. But I just think, again, the Browns have been there too many times. And when the lights come on and it's bright, he's gonna be there.
Mr. Trey, what do you think about the AFC question?
You're going to the guy that had nothing to do with the AFC, and yet I'm the one going with the dark horse? How shameful. I'm going to go with the guy that's on the hot one. He's riding momentum. I feel like it's his best chance. He's got a win over a division leader already in the past few weeks. He's got a nice couple games, especially including one against his division leader. And, 2 games against the technically worst team inside the OMFL right now. I think this is going to be a chance for Lost to sneak up and surprise everyone and be the first seed in the AFC. And quite frankly, possibly carry the momentum on.
He's calling out Lost. I dig it. That's a really good pick right there. Quite the build-up, too. I was waiting for it. I was like, who's he talking about? This could be a really fun one. So there you have it. And to be fair, Trey, you did get to go last. So that always helps with the dark horse question. Mr. Cincyberg says, do you think sitting, these questions sometimes, do you think sitting a 99 overall quarterback is playing a factor in the Bengals 2-9 start? That's a fun question that may be foreshadowing to what we're going to get to a little bit later. Mr. Big Hurt, your buddy, since he thrown this out there, do you think that sitting a 99 overall quarterback is hurting the Bengals or playing a role in their 2-9 start?
When you go based on strictly attributes, the way these settings are built, of course, that's going to make a difference. We've talked about this in past shows. Trey is one of a select few that can use a low-rated quarterback at a high level. And I just think Koch is a guy that's played with the Bengals too much. He knows Joe Burrow can get it done. And when you sit a guy with Joe Burrow's caliber, that's not going to get you wins. You're not going to find yourself having success. And he might not be having success with Burrow, but you got to go to the drawing board in the practice facility and just figure things out. And I just think that definitely has a huge impact in why he's 2-9.
We got Pickens in the chat saying, can we talk about the Steelers? Well, we got to get Penguins to do something to make us talk. We did talk about the Steelers a little earlier in the show, some of our games to watch for. The Penguins could be a team that's making some noise here late in the season. Trey, what do you think about this one? Is sitting a 99 over a quarterback as our current historical quarterback guru in the OMFL? Do you think that's hurting the Bengals?
If it was me, I'd say no. But when you're predominantly a pass-heavy offense, and you've shown that when you take over the Brown side of things, your offense has to change up and become a run-style offense, and you decide to bench quite possibly the best quarterback in the league, I have to question, A, are you okay? B, have you checked into an insane asylum lately? And C, go see your family doctor. You might need some medication.
Our guys, Trey is just letting it all out there. He says, you got to go get on some medication, Mr. Koch, but we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. Maniac, what are you thinking? You're over there in the AFC.
Well, I'm thinking draft picks. I've already made that mistake once tonight, but I think that could be playing into this as well. But we also know that the buddies switched teams, and we're winding down this Madden, and he's got a pretty good quarterback. I know he's not like the best body shaped quarterback that there's out there, but maybe he's trying to get something built up for next Madden for an import, because this guy's, I mean, he's got all the other tools. He doesn't look pretty, he's the hefty lefty or the donut boy, but he's got all the tools, and he's got the X Factor superstar dev, and so I think this may be a business move. He's thinking about the future.
I think you are 100% right and hit that one right on the head. Mr. Sinsenberg with another one. He says, Giants were such a complete team in season 112. They sit at 5-6, 30th in offense, second in defense. How can the Giants get their offense going down the stretch I think he meant going down the stretch for a wild card spot as we come to the end of season 114. Beckert, what do you think about this one? Mr. Bill kind of struggling, a little hit and miss there in the NFC.
Yeah, I just think like he kind of lost his confidence a little bit. And Bill's always been a really strong defensive guy. So sitting at 30th in offense and second in defense doesn't shock me, except for 2 seasons ago in season 112. He had a pretty successful team running the ball with Jacobs and feeding the ball to Malik Neighbors. And I kind of questioned, and I remember talking about it in the playoffs, like he's got to find somebody else besides Neighbors. You can't just go in with one guy. And so I just think he still needs to get another piece to that offense, and then just run the ball and not be so one-dimensional or like one dominant receiver on the outside.
Thanks, Pickens, Steelers fan. Maybe we'll touch on that at the end of the show. Right now, we're talking OMFL, so we want to finish these thoughts. Trey, we're coming over to you. What do you think about the Bill and the Giants? Should we start calling him the Bill? I think we should. I like it. The Bill and the Giants.
I played Bill earlier, and he was dealing with injuries, and so I can understand where the offense was slipping then. But he has such a good scheme. It's weird to see that it's not working. It might take sitting down and going in the lab and figuring some things out. I have no answer to this, because it's one of those what if scenarios. Like, what if he had a healthy team at the start of the year and didn't have injuries, and that playing a factor into it? Maybe, if he was healthy, does he have the momentum keep rolling and keep the offense going? So I actually don't have an honest, legitimate answer to what you can do to fix it, because his offense on paper looks great and should work great. It's just not manifesting.
Mr. Maniac, what do we think about Bill? That's what he thinks. Nothing. Sorry, Bill. He thinks nothing.
Get used to this now, because I got a new place to mute myself. But I think you look at the Giants when he made his run to the OMFL Bowl. He was an absolute juggernaut at running the ball, and he struggled a little bit with that so far this season. And then also, I also like to look into the conversions. I think the conversions kind of speak a lot about teams that are struggling. And his third down conversions, he's only converting 43%, which is like bottom half of the league. It's like bottom 10, and there's not a whole lot of points separating the worst third down conversion teams to the best third down conversion team percentage wise. So I think anytime you can't convert third downs and get first downs, your offense is going to struggle, because you're going to be a lot of 3 and outs. And I think that just lends to not having consistency on the offensive side of the ball.
I completely agree. Mr. Cincyberg on a roll with these questions here tonight. Since he says, who ends up with the number... Oh, now you're ready, Mr. Maniac. We'll go to you first. Who ends up with the number 1 overall pick for the draft? Finns, Eagles, Bengals, or Raiders? Coming to you, Mr. Maniac.
Oh, Maniac, you can't talk about the Broncos or the Browns here, just so you know.
Don't talk about the good teams. Talk about the bad ones.
I started to do that. The Broncos could have a chance at the number 1 pick. No.
Buy a trade.
No, I think this is really like a dead heat with the Dolphins. I really think the Dolphins and the Eagles, and I'm sure probably Twinkie is kicking rocks right now, because that sim game against the Cowboys, he ended up getting the win, so that hurts his chances at that number 1 spot. So.
Man, it's like enough of y'all. Y'all been making fun of me all night about this one. Mr. Trey, what do you think about the number 1 draft pick? Who gets it?
I think it's going to be with Miami. I'd flip between the Finns and the Eagles, but that sim win is just that's going to kill his chance at at the 1 pick because he's struggling. He plays all his games, so he's not going to have some fluke sim win. I just don't see how he can figure out the puzzle pieces to get the win that he needs, and I don't see how the Finns don't get another win inside this week season.
Yeah, it's been a crazy one. Mr. Big Hurt, what do you think about this one?
Well, I think it's, for me, kind of crazy to even see the Dolphins and the Bengals there with a 96 and a 97 overall quarterback. But I would say if I had to pick who ends up with the first pick, clearly the Dolphins, I think, are the leading guy just because he has not figured it out. I thought he spent a bunch of money in the offseason that was going to help him when he went and got Max Crosby, and he had Joe Duke back at the receiver spot. And I was like, I thought this guy would be a playoff potential team, and he hasn't figured it out. So I think the Dolphins, and like everybody's already talked about, the Eagles with the sim loss or the sim win over the Cowboys definitely probably hurts them a ton in this situation. So give me the Finns to take the number 1 draft spot.
This next one does not count for the show here tonight for Press Pass Live, but Cincy, I will give you credit because I dig the energy that you are bringing tonight in chat and in the questions. He says, if the Saints could add one player to their current roster, who would you add between Breeze, McAllister, Colston, and Graham? That answer is very clearly obvious. If you removed Breeze from that list, because every list for the Saints starts and ends with Breeze, I'd probably say Colston, just the big body receiver. He's my favorite receiver for the Saints all time. Joe Horn's a 1B, but I really love, and probably Joe's not a 1B. There's a tie between a couple of different guys, but Colston was right there. McAllister, who I've met several times in real life, is also just one of my favorite all-time Saints. A little low on Graham. He was awesome when he was here, but he left. Kind of cool that he came back right at the end. That's a really good list of some classic Saints guys that we desperately miss down here. Randy says, who's an owner who has never won an OMFL Bowl that you can't believe has never got one? I know who really, really desperately wants one, and we're going to start with him, Mr. Maniac. Who do you think is a surprise for you that has not got an OMFL Bowl?
Oh, I was going to say, can I say myself? No, I really want one. Yeah, I do. Really, I would have probably put Colin in that part, but he just won one, so give me Lost. I've seen Lost, like he's put up a lot of good teams. He's put up a lot of good points. He's had some good seasons. I know the last couple of Maddens he struggled, but I've seen him put up some numbers. He puts up some offensive numbers. He gets in the playoffs, and he's played pretty decently in the playoffs. He just hadn't got a bowl game, so give me Lost. I really expect him to get one here within the next few seasons.
Cincy, if you're talking OMFL, I would say Graham because he would just be a cheat code. McAllister would be slow. Colston would be slow. I already have a quarterback, but I would take Graham in the OMFL. Anyway, coming back to Trey. Trey, what do you think?
Person that's surprised that hasn't won a bowl game yet. Has Nips finally won one yet?
Who?
I don't know. Has Nipples finally won one yet?
No.
I'm a little lost on that.
I don't think Nips has got one. Am I wrong about that?
I don't know. I don't think he has.
I don't think
that's the one that surprises me the most. He's been there so many times. He had to pull off a victory in the OMFL Bowl. Just surprising me because he has such dominant seasons. Maybe it's too many sex cruises.
Way too many without the protection. Big Hurt, what do you think about this one?
There's two names that stand out, and I think it's Maniac and Meek Boy. Those are the two guys that I just think are such a quality game manager, play caller, owner. They build great teams. But it just seems like they figure it out. They beat the best of people, but then they like have a hiccup that just costs them at the right time in the playoffs, and it just seems like they can't like get past that little roadblock to get it all the way. And I thought Maniac had it in season 1 of this cycle, and I'm kind of waiting for Meek Boy to make his run, just because these two guys are so consistent. And one of these seasons, they're going to win it.
Meek Boy's another really good answer. Nice Songer says, who do you think will come in as competition for football games against EA? My answer is no one. Big Hurt, what do you think about competition for EA?
I'd love to say 2K, but I'm going to agree with you and say no one. The NFL with license rights and the way Madden is driven, making money off of the stupid money-driven stuff and whatnot. EA is not going to allow anybody to have rights, no matter how much it costs, because they make enough money off of MUT and everything else to pour in and keep the license rights with the NFL. So I don't see anybody competing. I'd love to see 2K, though, get in the mix if they ever had a chance.
I like it. And that actually answers our next question, which we will touch on. But before we do, Mr. Trey, what do you think about this one?
The correct answer and the only question is the company that work against you would be the NFL. Is that the NFL? They can stop giving the race to EA, open it up, and let everybody else have a crack at this, and we might actually have good EA games again because they'll have some competition again. It was nice to have 2K with their cheaper game, which was better, but then EA complained to the NFL and they wanted more money. So, where?
The money always seems to win. Maniac, I saved you for last for this one, and we'll start you first for the next one. What do you think about the EA question?
Money talks, and it's going to be hard for anybody to come in competition with the EA. And then, I mean, they've got the market on both games. They got a college game now, and they got the NFL game. It's just, something fell. They've just got the market on the football games and stuff. Now, there is a game, Maximum of Football. They're coming out, I think, on PS5 here in the summer. I would love to see them do something, but I really think it's a little too late. I mean, but there's always a glimmer of hope, but my money's on no.
Nice Songer is my boy. I love him. So I'm going to give him credit for the next question, but he basically asked the same question in a different way. But I'll open it up and see if you guys have any thoughts. He says, what company would you want to make a game to compete with Madden? I've got an outside of the box answer to that, but I will save mine for last. Mr. Maniac, you're going to start this one off. You mentioned a good one, Maximum. Now they're quite a bit a ways. Like, their game is pretty rough. I like what I'm seeing, but let's just be honest. They are years and many, many billions of resources away from being able to actually compete. And I think as long as you don't have an NFL license, you will never really compete. Just say what it is. Guys don't want to play without the real logos, the real teams, the real stadiums. They just want it. I get it. But what do you think about this one, Maniac?
Yeah. Else out there too. What company would I want? Look at MLB The Show. I mean, that game is spectacular. It's not an EA product, and it's pretty deep. And I know I just started playing it with Hurt. They've got some modes in there that are really fun to play, even with the co-op stuff. And I think looking at that, they've got the knowledge, obviously, to make a video game. So I know EA doesn't have a baseball game, so that the studio there for Sony has the right for the MLB, but I think they have the knowledge and the capability of actually building a solid sports franchise that could compete with them.
Yeah, I agree with that one. That's a fun one. Mr. Trey, what do you think about it? Just a different way to ask, but is there a company that hasn't been mentioned that you would like to see give their shot at a football game?
I hate that I had to go second one because it's definitely the crew of San Diego Studios. It's the old. I've recently found out it's the old 989 Studios.
Yeah.
So they have previous history in sports games. They've done the hockey. They've done some football. I feel like if you give them the time to build a game up, and it's not just an instant release, and you give them the resources to build, like, give them the NFL licensing, I feel that they could produce a very thoughtful game. I know I love the franchise mode, even though it's currently always just offline, sorry. If you can get that running online MLB and then take those and transfer it over to a football game, the amount of content that people could create on a daily basis, let alone weekly basis, would be outstanding, especially for us here in the OMFL.
Big Hurt, what do you think about this one?
Well, you guys basically took, it right out of my mouth here. Is San Diego Studios would be the company that I would want to have them create a game. Just because I think 2K is too driven on like the park mode and money driven for me. San Diego Studios, I think, puts a great game together for MLB, the player movement and everything. But I'm going to kind of take the devil's advocate here and flip the approaches. At the same time, I don't know that I would want them to, because like EA, they've got the golf, they've got hockey, they've got the UFC, they've got all these like other shooter games, role-playing games, Madden, college football. And so when you start divvying up all the resources against all these games, that's why you get like a minimal production game like Madden that doesn't really translate each year to year, whereas San Diego Studios puts everything they got into MLB. So that's why the game is so built so well, is because they have all the resources, all their top developers, all their high-end people are building that game, and so that you get a quality game. So I don't know, like part of me would be like, I would like to see what they would do with the football game, but would the same effect happen like what's going on with EA? Too much spread over too many games, then the quality of each game kind of goes down.
NHL, that's EA.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a.
Yes.
EA has the graphic thing figured out. I've always said this about NHL. It is the most beautiful video game just to watch. Like I don't know if it's just the ice, the white, the colors of the jersey. It is the most stunningly.
The office is in Canada.
Well, maybe so, but either way, it is a stunningly beautiful game to watch. And I agree with all of you. I think that would be a really fun studio in San Diego to be able to make a football game. I think we can all agree, though, no studio is doing anything to lose money. And they know without that NFL license, you're going to lose money. You're just not going to make money unless you're a small startup style studio like, ooh, there's a bunch of S's for you, like the one that we're seeing with Maximum Football. And who knows if they're going to be able to play the long game here and build something that people will actually buy. The noviceness of it wears off pretty quickly without those NFL logos. It just does. And they're not only not going to have NFL logos, but they're also not going to have the college logos because of EA. And then I don't think a college football game, a Canadian football game or a UFL football game would also be able to have enough buys and play time behind it. So my creative answer is the company that I would like to see make a game to compete with Madden is Madden. I think it will never happen because money, and the NFL will never let it happen, and EA will never invest into two studios to build Madden. This game needs a full reset. It needs a full bottom-up rebuild like what we've seen with the college football game. That took 2.5 or 3 years to get us there. That's what it would take for Madden to be a full rebuild. The problem with that is by the time you got to the end of the 2.5 to 3 years, The game engines will be moved on to the next engine, and the game systems will be moved on to the next systems. And so you will have built an out-of-date game. It will never happen, and we will continue to play a game that we all agree needs a complete full reset. You can feel it with every button push, with every play call. It is just a game that is just starting to become a mess, and it just is. And even with the best technology and the best graphics and the best of everything that you could ever ask for, the game feels dated, it feels slow, it feels gimmicky, it feels glitchy. It is because we are playing a game that has 10 plus years of just glitchy old code, and a lot of that old code, despite the new technology updates, is just built on old technology. And the problem is technology is updating so quickly, so speedily, that you can't keep up with it, and a full reset is just never going to happen. And until it does, we will continue to have a less than video game. And that sucks. And that's just a really bad thing. And I think you may see a lot of people love college a bit more because of that, until college 2 becomes a dated game, because making a game every year is just never going to be good for the consumers on our end. I think that's the sucky part. And I hear, the birds of the world who says take a year off. But here's what you're going to see taking a year off. Sure, the game won't get updated. Sure, we'll get used to it, but it's going to feel dated. People are going to get bored. And by the second or third season into the quote unquote new cycle of playing the old game again, you're going to start losing owners, and you're not going to find new owners. So that too is not a very real solution. All right, guys, we've come down to our winners. We're going to have Mr. Maniac with 68 points, and then a very tight, close score between Big Hurt and Trey. Big Hurt squeezed it out with 1 point, 66 to 65. So we're going to come down to Maniac and Big Hurt for our last question. And with our showdown, it is the question of my choice, which is one that was touched on a bit earlier. The Bengals quarterback. This guy started out as a 58 overall, 300-pound quarterback. Looking at him, play with him, you're like, did he edit this guy to be this way? I actually questioned him. I was like, Koch, please tell me you didn't edit this guy to be what we're looking at. He's like, no, this is what we got. I drafted this guy, and I just started pouring a lot into him. He's built him up from a 58 overall. He sent me the photo, and I don't have it off the top of my head, and now it's too small to be able to see, but I think he is up over 70 or 80 overall. He has got him all the way up to an X factor. Is this the best sleeper story ever told in the OMFL? Big Hurt, we're coming to you first.
I mean, it's definitely a sleeper story. I think, honestly, for me, when I look at it, I would honestly say I think Koch just got super frustrated because I know he was playing college football and then kind of took a step aside from college football because he was frustrated. OMFL this cycle hasn't gone the way he's wanted. He hasn't found his traction yet. And I think he was just like, you know what? I'm just going to literally turn things upside down, move on and whatnot. And kind of as like a joke, just throw this guy in. And then he realized I might be onto something. And so he built this guy up, and now all of a sudden, he's like, you know what? Maybe this guy could be an importable player. Maybe this guy could be something. And, he's turning some heads. Guys are starting to notice what he's doing. And then, like Maniac said earlier, with him and his buddy swapping teams, going over to the Browns, the Browns are in the need of a quarterback. Joe Flacco's not the answer, especially long term, maybe for a short one season thing, but really, is that even really something anybody here wants to do? So bringing a guy like this might be the option. And just because of what he is, he will be importable, but at a cheap price.
Maniac, what do you think about the sleeper story? Best one ever told?
It really could be, especially if he continues on with the story and actually, he gets imported. I know we were kind of making fun of him in the chat that one day we were calling him Josh. I love Dunkin' Donuts, Dunkin' or whatever. And but I'm looking at his stats right now. He's got some pretty good stats. He's like 76 overall right now. X factor, 91 throw power. But I think the one thing I look at the break sack is like 80, and he's so big. And if Madden actually does things properly, I mean, this dude's gonna be something else to try to take down in the pocket. I mean, he's got no speed, but man, is he tall? Is he big? And he could really be kind of like that Cinderella story that big men can play something else besides the O line or in the trenches. He can fling the ball around with this guy, and he's done it. He's got some decent stats with him this season. I think he's got like 25 touchdowns and 26 interceptions. Probably love to see the interceptions down. He is trying to get him built up, and I really do think he's thinking about taking him over the next Madden.
100%. That's what he's going to do. And then we're going to come back. Pickens in the chat. Thanks for the follow. We're going to come to your questions, just randomly get through them really quick with the guys. But let me get it over to our winner for the one final point. With a 1-point victory, we finally have a new champion, Mr. Maniac. One final closing thought. The floor is yours.
Hurt back-to-back champion. Hey, at least I can win the chat here. I may not win the OMFL bowl game, but I can win the chat challenge, and so this is really fun. I really enjoy it. It gives me like I said with the buzzer and stuff, it gives you kind of focus on the questions and make your answers as short as possible. But I love this place. I love the OMFL. That's the reason why I spent money on my sound stuff. I love what Nate does and what he's done throughout all these years in the OMFL at Press Pass Live and different things like that. And I just want to do what I can do to contribute. And I know all you guys do the same thing. You love contributing to this type of content, and appreciate just the league as a whole, because without these guys together, we don't have this league, and we're a family. We're a brotherhood, and I love this place.
Well, we appreciate you. Let's rapid fire a couple of our new follower, Mr. Pickens, questions in here. Also, Cincyberg said Activision as a potential studio to throw out a new Madden game. Pickens says, what do you think about DK Metcalf and George Pickens wide receiver duo? My thoughts are good luck to anybody trying to throw them the ball, because those two guys will rip your head off, I feel like, if they don't get enough passes. Any thoughts about the Steelers' new wide receiver duo?
I mean, they're talented as anybody can come, but you already said it. Like, they're probably two of the most talented younger receivers, upcoming receivers, but they're also probably two of the bigger head cases. So, I mean, if you don't keep them happy, and I guess like my old term is how many mouths you're out there to feed, then you get too many mouths to feed, then not everybody's happy. So those two dudes want to eat more than everybody else. And so you put two pit bulls in and they're sharing the same bowl, it's not going to work out well.
I don't think Pickens knows what he got himself into over there.
I was going to say that kind of like what Hurt was saying, like both those guys are dogs, and they want the ball. The Steelers' problem is, like, who is really going to be there actually feeding them? I mean, I know they've picked up struggling for who they picked up in free agency for quarterback, but are they going to draft one? And the other thing you have to think about too is, like, if they have a young quarterback, they've got to navigate those personalities, and that can be tough for even veterans. And then you throw in a young rookie having to deal with stuff like that can be disaster waiting to happen.
We know one quarterback that won't be playing in Pittsburgh, and that's Jackson Dart, because he'll be a Saint.
Along with every other quarterback that's draftable. I was trying to give Trey an option to jump in here. I don't know if we put him to sleep, but I'd love to hear his thoughts on this next one. Pickens says, if you had infinite cap space, who is on your team? That could be a really tough one. I'm going to go old school with my answer. Just give me like the late 80s, early 90s 49ers, because there was no cap back then. So, they basically built super teams way back when. Like we'd be here all night trying to list a whole team, but give me some top ones if you had infinite cap space in the real NFL.
Infinite cap space, and if I can rewind history and keep him out of whatever that situation, give me all day the punter killer, Mr. Sean Taylor. That man is near and dear to my favorite player when I was growing up. And the day that that was it was such a sad day for me. If you gave that man time, that man's a Hall of Famer without a shadow of a doubt.
I definitely think Sean Taylor was probably a top safety in the league. I would say the one team that I would like to reinvent, there's several guys that were high dollar, would be the Ravens. When they had Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Charles Suggs, Haloti Ngata, they built such a crazy team. And then they had Jamal Lewis on the other side with Todd Heap. And give me that with those guys in their prime. And yeah, that'd be a fun squad.
Here's a fun one before Maniac goes. Like, give me the Ravens running back, probably some better receivers, but like the current offense with like that, 2000, whatever year that was, that early 2000s Ravens defense. But then give me the 49ers version of Deion Sanders. I know he went to the Ravens late, but his foot was done by then. Give me the 49ers version of Deion and put him over there with the Ravens. That would have been a really fun team. Maniac, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I was thinking if I had an infinite salary cap, obviously I'm getting the best cornerbacks and I'm building my defense up like to be able to shut anybody down. But I think would be fun too. The Bears back in when they went to the Super Bowl and they lost to Peyton Manning.
Devin Hester and Rex Grossman. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking to say, if you take that team and you put like a Peyton Manning on that team, oh my goodness. You're talking about a new dynasty in the NFL. You get some kind of quarterback that can really like turn that franchise around and spend that money on the defense that they had and stuff. So man, that would be a monster of the Midway reborn.
Infinite cap space. I would have also kept those early 90s Dome Patrol Saints teams together, just a couple more years. That you guys don't understand. Being a Saints fan, growing up down here, 90s kid, like that team was so much fun to watch. We never really won anything. We didn't win anything. We keep getting blown out by the 49ers and their super teams and a couple tough losses to the Eagles in the playoffs. But man, those early 90 defenses were so much fun to watch. I know those teams almost like the back of my hand.
I think say Sam Mills was like one of my favorite non-Cowboys to watch. Man, he was
should have never been in Carolina. Ricky Jackson should have never been in San Francisco. Swilling should have never went back to Detroit. So many good players on those teams, man. Those were really, really, really fun teams, and some really fun memories for me as a kid. Guys, we're gonna wrap it up on that one. Thank you, Pickwins. That's not what I meant to say. I mixed Penguins, who's the Steelers here, with Pickens, who's their Steelers new follow there in the chat. I mixed those together and made a gumbo word of whatever I just said. But appreciate the follow, appreciate the questions. Cincy, thank you for being plugged in at chat. And Nice Hunger, even though you're at work, I appreciate you. Guys, thank you for a great show. We'll be back with you again next Monday. I'll be back before that, though. I think tomorrow night I'll be playing some OMFL College League, and then sometime, hopefully Wednesday afternoon, I'll be able to play Flurry if I'm able to knock off work just a little early. Guys, I love you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. Know that you matter, and I cannot wait to see you again next time. Until then, take care. God bless. Peace.
Who says?
Smash that like and subscribe.